The next pattern that we're going to is a push whip. Starts off like a normal closed whip that we learned in the basic pattern, but then goes 1, 2, turn 3, and this is the difference. 4, bringing her in towards you on 4, then taking her out 5, 6, 7, and 8. So unlike a closed whip, it never actually comes back the same direction as it started. What it's going to do is it's going to go out the opposite direction from where it started. Starts on this side, going to go out the opposite direction. 1, 2, turn her, 3 and 4, out 5, 6, 7, and 8. Very important for the man to know is that as he brings her across, the lady is going to be expecting to go back. He's got to block her way fully. He cannot be getting out of the way or else it'll confuse the lady. He wants to make sure that he's in the way, blocking her, stops her on the floor with his frame and his position, and then sends her back 5, 6, 7, and 8. The man can follow depending on how close he wants to end up. If he already feels like he's too tight, he might want to make his steps on the spot out and then do a 7 and 8 on the spot. So once you've done 4, he might want to stay on the spot as the lady goes out to create a little bit more distance for the 5 and 6. Now remember, we covered in the basic patterns from the basic tape things about whip. The man does not travel the slot on the whip or on the right side passes. The man's job is to initiate momentum, get out of the way. And only on the count of 3 does his shoulders and do the lady's shoulders turn. 2 and 3. So he's getting out of the way. Very important thing is that men are going to be tempted to try and either go back forward or sideways. It's going to be very important for the man to not dance around the lady. It's a lady's slot, so you don't want to make it look like it's a circular dance or that you end up changing places. You want to make it look like the lady comes by the man, runs her slot, comes by the man. The man's job should look like he's running back and forth in and out of the slot, not back and forth on the slot. Initiates momentum, gets out of the way, turns her, lady runs by, man has stayed on the spot. Finishing up that push whip, bringing her forward, blocking her, but then continuing to make it obvious to everybody that it's still a slot dance and lady has to go back out, running the slot, man stays on the spot. Remember that wherever the man travels his 1, whether we're doing the right side pass, whether we're doing the starter step, whether we're doing the push whip, or whether we're doing some of the patterns from the beginning level, it's going to be very important that wherever the man takes his 1, the rest of his patterns or counts or steps stay on that same alignment. The woman, of course, and most people understand that, has a slot track of 2 rails that run parallel where her feet go, and she steps on those. And the man has a track that runs opposite, perpendicular to it. It's very important for the man to stay on that track that he sets. And he sets that track on 1. Now if he takes his 1 back, then it's very important for him to stay on that track. 2, 3, and 4, and his feet should not move off of that, his 5 and 6. If you were to step sideways on the 1, 1, 2, 3, and 4, the only thing that does is it makes the slot much shorter, and it's important to understand that that also is where you're going to keep your 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. So wherever you take your 1, whether it's back, sideways, or at some sort of an angle, whether you cross in front, tight, or like we teach, or whether you bring your feet together, whatever it is, it's very important that wherever you set your 1, the rest of the footwork maintains. That is now the man's slot, wherever he takes his 1.
It's essential that the man does not dance back down the slot away from the woman. Remember that for every bit the man dances around to the other side of the woman, that's how much shorter her slot will be, and you still want it to look like West Coast Swing, a slot dance.
As the man takes his 1 back, this is now he's determined for the lady how long her slot is going to be by the amount of 1 he's given her, whether it be an arm lead or a body lead. On the count of 1, he's determined her direction and how much she's going to be able to travel, because now she's gauging the length of the arms and to create that length of arm again on the other side of it. If a man stays constant with his footwork, that's very easy for the lady. If he was to take his 1 back and then move forward on the 2, he has now changed what he just set for her, and it becomes very confusing. And the lady is not going to gauge the distances accurately, and it will be uncomfortable for her and very inconsistent. As we're doing those patterns, make sure that the ladies are noticing Resa's still doing the toe leads that are so important to West Coast Swing, not taking heel leads. We want to have it be a toe lead for a nice leg line versus a heel lead, which would look more like walking out of 2-step, and make sure that's a toe lead. Men, whenever you come forward, the few times that you do, say on the count of 4, you also would be taking a toe lead. You would not allowing yourself to be taking a heel lead. Getting back to some more details about the patterns that we've already taught, when we're talking about the basic whip and then putting the push ending on the end of it, It's very important for the man to remember, just out of the basic, that he's got to turn the lady on the count of 2, receive her, and then send her back 3 and 4. Now what happens is that because the lady's arm is in frame and out, she's going to catch the man as she's turned on 2, and man's shoulders change, send the lady back 3 and 4. 4. So it's very important that the man makes sure that he remembers his J hook. 1, 2, turn the lady on the count of 2, send her back 3 and 4. Now replace distance 5 and 7 and 12.